holding up this book for a reason. We're about to be joined by the author, Maria Dismondy, co-author, excuse me. This is called The Juice Box Bully. This is a book that was recommended to me because you guys know that we've been dealing a little bit with bullying issue at home, and it's something that we're talking about a lot on the show anyway because it's a very common problem, and especially for our kids on the autism spectrum. So I asked Maria to be with us today so we could talk a little bit about this book. Maria, are you with us?
I'm with you. Hello.
There you are. Hello. We're so thrilled to have you here today. And I have to say, we've been trying to get Maria on the show for quite a while. And for whatever reason, my email did not like her email. And but I'm so thrilled that we finally got it worked out. But this is a lovely book that you have here. Tell us a little bit about how this book came to be and how you got involved.
Okay. Well, we'll talk a little bit about my first book later, but this book came out of the first book. So I wrote a story about what happened to me when I was a young child being teased. Mm-hmm. And I have been in education. I taught first and second grade for 12 years. And being in the classroom, I could see firsthand that bullying was a huge issue. And it made me so sad that when I went to go find a book to read to my students and to use as a teaching tool, mm-hmm. I couldn't find books. I could find books about animals with bullying. I wanted something that was realistic. I wanted something with children characters. So I wrote my first book, and I was promoting the first book when I met Bob Sorensen, and he is my co-author of The Juice Box Bully. And Bob approached me and said, I love that you're passionate about what you're doing. Would you co-author a book with me? And so Bob and I came together and worked on the concept of the bystander. And that's really what The Juice Box Bully focuses on, is looking at not only the bully and the victim, but all the other people who are involved in bullying.
Yeah, and I think that's a really important thing because I don't think we're going to see any substantive change with bullying unless we can attack it from that point of view, that it really takes a community for bullying to happen.
Absolutely.
And so I really appreciate that about this book, and it's a fairly, I mean, you can see I'm showing the pictures here, lovely illustrations. It's an easy enough book to read that you could do this with a first grade class, yes?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the reading level is going to be more of like a third, fourth, maybe even fifth grade, mm-hmm. but the concept can be with children as young as 5 years old. My young 3-year-old understands the concept of the book.
Yeah, and yet I could easily see this being used for kids who are older too. That the kids in the drawing seem to be older kids, so that it still has that cool factor for the 6th and 7th graders. Yeah. And what I really love about it, I don't want to give the story away so much, but it is that, as you said, it's about the bystander. But what I really love about it too, Maria, is that it goes to the heart of, we all tend to think that the bully is somebody else, and yet we know that bullies generally are people who were bullied, and how easy it can be to become a bully yourself if you're not careful.
Absolutely, and you'll see that in the book with the main character. You find out what his history was.
Yeah, and so it's really lovely and encourages everybody to be a part of the situation so that nobody allows the bullying to happen, to the point that in the back of the book, you have something called The Promise. Tell us about The Promise.
Well, The Promise is something we really wanted to not only write the book. I mean, writing the book was the first step, but we wanted to use this as a platform. I go around to different schools in Michigan. I Skype with schools all over the country talking about the concept of bullying. So we really wanted the book to be a platform to going out and speaking and spreading this message. And so The Promise is just another way that schools can help us spread this message within their own building. So The Promise is a pledge, and the teacher can go to the back of the book, and there's several different bullet points, and the teacher can teach the children what those different bullet points mean. So, for example, I'll give you one. Mm-hmm. I will speak up instead of acting as a bystander. So really teaching your students, what does it mean to be a bystander? Mm-hmm. And the schools can then use that. They post it up in their school, in their hallways. There's Promise posters all over the place, and they can use it as reference all throughout the year. So kids can keep going back, remembering that a promise is something you've made to carry through forever.
Absolutely. And I know you've got a wonderful website that has a bunch of information about your books and about The Promise and about what you do. Let's tell folks at home your website.
Yeah, the website is www.mariadismondy.com. mariadismondy.com. And I do have some free resources for teachers and parents on there as well. Each book has a reading guide that has lesson plans for the classroom, cooking activities, different things that you can do, discussions that you can have with your child at home if you're reading the book. So a lot of free resources, and I am a daily blogger. So I blog about parenting, about teaching, and about living your best life and helping raise children to live their best life too.
It's really a lovely book, and your website is lovely. And I do want to point out, because what we talk about here is usually kids on the autism spectrum, and this book is not about that. It's about bullying in general, but I think that's a really good thing for our kids, because not only do our kids need to see this, but the kids that our kids go to school with need to see this book.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
And I also want to point out that I found out about your book through a webinar that I had attended about preventing bullying, about our kids on the spectrum, preventing them from becoming bullies and from being bullied. And this was the book that they recommended.
Oh, excellent.
So a wonderful, wonderful thing. And you are seeing this book being used in the schools.
Yeah.
And what are the different ways, some of the different ways that they're using the book in classrooms?
Well, the poster is a great visual, so the teachers will teach one concept per day at the beginning of the school year, and they use it as their rule setup. So teachers spend the first couple of weeks of the school year setting up rules and boundaries and expectations, and so the juice box bully is being used as a part of setting up those classroom rules. And every now and then I'll Google the book to see what else is on the internet, what's new, and one of the schools put on a play, and they acted out the juice box bully, and so that was on YouTube. So schools are really using it in a lot of different ways.
A wonderful, wonderful thing. Well, fabulous. We're going to take a little bit of a break, but when we come back, we're going to talk with Maria more about her other book, and why can I not think, and it's the Spaghetti in a Hot Dog Bun.
Yeah.
So we're going to hear about that when we come back, which will be very interesting, and stick with us for more, because we may have an opportunity for you at home to win something. Stick with us. Welcome back to Autism Live. I'm Shannon Penrod. We're webcasting to you live from the Center for Autism and Related Disorders headquarters in Tarzana, California. Our special guest via Skype right now is Maria Dismondy. She is the co-author of this book, The Juice Box Bully, which I had mentioned that I heard about in a webinar about autism and bullying and couldn't wait to get my hands on it. I ordered 2 copies, one for us to have at home that I read with my son, and another that I gave to his school, first to his teacher and then ultimately to the principal, because there's this wonderful promise in the background. And I have to say, I also downloaded from your website, Maria, the promise, the pledge, and had copies of it made so all the kids in my son's class could color it and sign it and do all that. They had just finished a unit on community, and so it was very timely. It was a wonderful thing for me to be able to send as a parent and say, here, something to be able to be used. And I bought this. I don't remember whether I got it on Amazon.com or whether I ordered it from BarnesandNoble.com, but one of them, so it got shipped directly to my door. It was very inexpensive, and really wonderful book to share with your kids, whether they're on the spectrum or not. All of our kids need to know about bullying and know that they can stand up, that they don't have to be a bystander, they don't have to allow it to happen, and they don't have to be the bully. So, wonderful, wonderful book. But this is not your only book, is it?
No. I just finished my 4th book on Friday. It'll be out next year. So. Okay.
Tell us about the first one, though, Spaghetti in a Hot Dog Bun, because this is fascinating to me.
Yep, Spaghetti in a Hot Dog Bun. Here it is. It actually just came out in hardcover on Thursday last week.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, so Spaghetti in a Hot Dog Bun was written in 2008, and it focuses on the individual and really empowering children to be who they are and to feel good about themselves, and not to be afraid to be who they are, to have that courage to go to school as themselves. So the story is about a little girl who has big poofy hair. It's written based on what happened to me when I was younger. She's teased for the silly foods that she eats, like spaghetti in a hot dog bun, for the clothes that she wears, etc., etc. And the story has a twist. I won't, tell you exactly what happens, but the story has a twist that she's really faced with a decision to make when the bully is in trouble and there's no one there to help him. So kind of have to see what she decides to do. But it's a great story. And just like in the Juice Box Bully, how I provide a promise, in this story, there is something in the back that provides different things that the children can do. Just empowering messages like be yourself and stand tall, never give up, share a smile, spread kindness. So there's 10 different messages in the book that teachers and parents can use to teach the story and the concept of believing in yourself.
Well, another wonderful book for our kids, because a lot of our kids on the spectrum, they're quirky, they're different, and it's always a difficult thing for them that they're looked at as being different, but being able to get the message that different is okay, that it's not a disease. What a wonderful thing. And you've got another book. Tell me about Pink Tiara Cookies for 3.
Yeah, Pink Tiara Cookies for 3 came out a couple months ago, and I have a different illustrator. So she's out of Seattle, Washington, Carrie Pilo. She's great to work with. And it's a story about 3 friends. One friend is always left out. And it talks about a subtle type of bullying, which we see all the time, and children don't really understand that it's bullying. It's when one friend will threaten another friend to get what they want. So, for example, in the story, Sammy threatens her best friend Stella and says, if you play with Jasmine, you're not going to be my best friend anymore. And so she's threatening, and she's not allowed to make up rules for her friends like that. And so it really talks about how, yes, that's a type of bullying. You don't get to control your friends. You don't get to make up rules for your friends. And the story goes through to find out, how does she really make room for another friend in her life and realize that you can't alienate people. So
this is a great book for our kids on the spectrum, because our kids are very rule-oriented, and a lot of times they don't understand when playing in a circle of friends or 3 friends. And a lot of times our kids are the ones that are guilty of this, saying, well, so-and-so doesn't want to play with me because they're playing with somebody else. So a really great jumping off point for our kids. And of course, when you were telling me about this book, I said, well, I know some adults I'd like to give this book to.
Absolutely.
Because there are adults who don't know the rules of friendship, and that you can't order a friend to not play with somebody.
That's the truth.
Yes. So maybe good for everybody. You give it to your friend's child, hoping that they'll read it to them at bedtime, and maybe they'll figure it out. But wonderful.
And this story has, the main characters are all girls, and the story I just finished has all boys as main characters. Okay. So for those listeners out there who say, well, that book has all girls, no, I'm being fair, and my all-boy book is coming out in the spring of next year. Okay,
wonderful. So again, we want to tell people that they can go to your website, mariadismondy.com, for more information and more resources. But Maria, I understand that you're going to give away a set of all 3 of your books to one of our viewers.
Absolutely.
Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to put up on our Facebook page, Autism Live, some instructions of what you need to do, and then we'll figure out who the winner is, and we'll have those shipped out to you. So again, you'll have the opportunity to win all 3 of the books.
And they'll be signed too.
Oh, that's even better. So signed versions of all 3 of the copies, and we'll put up the instructions of how we're going to do that on our Facebook page, which is Autism Live on Facebook. Maria, thank you so much for being with us, and we'll look forward to having you back on when your new book comes out next spring. But keep us posted, and we'll let you know who the winner is of the books.
Good luck.
Thank you so much, Maria. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So again, Maria Dismondy, and this is a really good book. Like I said, I heard about this at a conference and a webinar, and they were saying, get this book for yourself, something to read with your child, wonderful illustrations, and get a copy for your school. And it was inexpensive enough that I thought that it was well worth it to do that. And her website is also written in here, but it's mariadismondy.com. And you get the promise at the back of the book, and you can go on her website and print that out and take it into the school. It's a wonderful little coloring project for the people in the class, and they get to sign it, and they can hang them up around the room. We need to change the way bullying works in our classroom. It's important for our kids. It's important for all of the kids. And this is a great way to start early on. So thank you to Maria Dismondy.